Hello viewers, welcome to our lecture series on marketing management, and today we are going to extend our discussion on the topic of branding, wherein we have been discussing about meaning and strategies of branding which is being adopted by marketers according to their requirements and of course the market requirements. So this is going to be part 3 of our lectures on branding, meaning and strategies, and previously we have been discussing about the branding strategies related to individual brands, and then we have been talking about different branding strategies wherein we talked about the line extension, brand extension and different other strategies, and now we will talk about umbrella branding, what exactly it is, what are multi brands, what do we mean by brand positioning and repositioning. And there is a very pertinent aspect of brand positioning. When we talk about brand positioning, we have to understand what is the concept of a brand. So with what concept a brand has entered the market, unless we understand that, we cannot understand the positioning and repositioning of a brand. So keeping that in mind, I have planned the agenda of today's lecture in such a way that you get a complete, a holistic idea about what exactly the branding strategies are, and how do we go for brand positioning and repositioning, how the brands have gone for positioning and repositioning. So let us start with umbrella branding strategies, as the term itself is indicating that it is somehow encompassing the different aspects of a brand. That is why we call it umbrella branding strategy, and the approach is driven by the economic considerations, of course, because when you go for using umbrella branding strategies, you are not supposed to go for formulating different branding strategies for individual products or different product lines. So here we are basically looking at the economic aspect of our branding strategy, where it is going to cost us less when it comes to branding. So keeping in mind the economic consideration, this umbrella branding strategies are being adopted by most of the companies in certain segments, and here it is needless to say that the company name itself becomes a brand name for all products across diverse categories. And whenever I use this umbrella branding strategies, my students themselves, they give different names of companies, that yes, this company name itself became a brand. So how can it be possible that the name of a company itself is sufficient enough to tell about the brand? And of course it is something which the company has earned. So we have to understand that our name should earn that fame, that goodwill in the market, that everybody knows about the name of the company, and with the name of company itself, the brand name for all products across diverse categories are being identified. And here investment in building one brand proves far more economical than investing in building several brands, we all know, and this is the point which becomes a genesis for resorting to this umbrella branding strategy. So the companies which are actually adopting umbrella branding strategies, they always keep in mind the economical consideration, that it is always good or economical to invest, to give a big push to one branding strategy or developing one brand, rather than going for making investment into several brands, although it has its own pros and cons. But yes, the benefit here is very much known to us, that it is much more economical than investing in building several brands. So most of the companies, they are nowadays they are using umbrella branding strategy. If you ask me about the Indian scenario, I would say Tata. The name Tata itself is sufficient enough. The name actually symbolizes trust, which the company has built up over a period of time. Or if you take the name of Godrej, they are using it as an umbrella branding strategy. So they need no other name, but the name of the company itself becomes the brand name, and for whatever product they are actually launching, they are making use of their company's name as a brand, and they feel that yes, customers are going to buy it. The same is the case of Maruti also, Maruti Udyog Limited, which is a leading automobile company in India, and they are basically using their own company's name. The company's name is Maruti Suzuki Limited, Maruti Udyog Limited, which is doing its business in collaboration with Suzuki. So they are actually using the company's name itself as a brand, and in that way they are saving a lot of money in terms of making investment into development and strategizing several brands for different product lines. Now when we talk about umbrella branding strategy, there is one more term which comes to us, is called double branding strategy. So the approach here, as the term itself is indicating, it combines umbrella branding and product branding. So umbrella branding, once we discuss, we have to discuss double branding also, because it combines umbrella branding and product branding. For instance, as I mentioned about the Tata has launched its own car called Tata Nano or Tata Indica, or even for Bajaj we can use that Bajaj has come up with different two-wheeler brands with their own name, that like Bajaj Pulsar is one of them. So along with the product branding, the company name is associated to create double branding. So we call it double branding, that we are not only investing into the company's name for developing it as a brand, but we are also giving or using different brand names for different products. So just to give a different identity to a specific product, companies are nowadays, they are also using double branding strategy, because once they have reaped the benefit, whatever benefit they were supposed to gain out of this umbrella branding strategy, later on they go for double branding strategy. So umbrella branding is something which is always the first choice for brand managers when it comes to save some money, or when it comes to development of economical branding, wherein the company can say that yes, ROI on our branding is very high, because we have only developed one brand. The company's name itself is enough to speak about the quality, services and features what company is going to offer. Now, with the emergence of celebrity endorsement, we have endorsement branding strategy also. So this is a minor variation of double branding strategy, and the product brand name here gains a dominant position, while the company name merits a lower profile. So they are actually keeping or putting the brand name of a particular product in a dominant position as compared to the company's name. So company's name is given as a secondary one, and they are actually going for endorsing that particular brand. So they are reminding customers that yes, this is a product which is actually being launched by the same company with which you had a great experience. So endorsement branding strategy is also another extension into the umbrella branding. So my dear learners, we have talked about umbrella branding strategy, then we have talked about double branding strategy and endorsement branding strategy, and they all are in one way or the other. They are basically the different variants of umbrella branding strategy, where the company's name either comes at a prominent position, or at times the company's name is being used as a reminder to the customers that yes, this is the brand name, this product belongs to this particular brand, this particular company with which you had a great experience. So you need not to get confused with the marketing gimmicks being adopted by different marketers, and you must trust the tested one. So the one which is tested one, the one with which you had a great experience, you must buy that product only. So this is called endorsement branding strategy, where marketers are giving prominence to a specific product brand name, and it is being strengthened with the company's name at a secondary level. One more strategy which is now gaining in prominence, specifically speaking in case of IT sector, it is called ingredient branding, where the branding and ingredient of the main brand, which is often manufactured by a different company. So they are basically telling you about the ingredient of that particular brand. So that ingredient matters a lot, and that is why this branding is also done. For instance, whether you buy the laptop of IBM, Dell or Compaq, whichever brand you are using, there is a small sticker on the keypad of that particular laptop which reminds us about the ingredient branding, like Intel inside. So it is the most suitable example of ingredient branding, where the company is giving you an indication that yes, Intel is inside. So Intel inside is basically an ingredient brand on any brand or any laptop of any brand which you are buying and using. So they are actually giving you a reminder of that ingredient which is there inside that particular product. So my dear learners, these are the different ways the companies are going for formulating and implementing their branding strategies. There is one more strategy in this series of different types of branding or different ways of branding. We call it as co-branding, or at times we are giving it an optional name of complementary branding. So when two or more mutually reinforcing brands, they get together to jointly promote themselves, and of course one is not an ingredient of another, then we call it co-branding. Had it been an ingredient to one another, then of course this could have been called as an ingredient branding. But why are we calling it co-branding? Because two or more mutually reinforcing brands, they are joining their hands together just to promote themselves, just to promote each other. For instance, there is a co-branding in credit cards like Chase Mastercard or Harley Davidson or Ford Explorer. So these are the examples where the co-branding is being done by the companies like Maruti and Suzuki. Is one of the most and the oldest example of Indian automobile industry, which we are using time and again. So co-branding is basically just to give you a reflection of complementarity of two different products. Like nowadays we are using the cards which we are using in India is being supported by the RuPay, and there is a RuPay card also along with a Mastercard and Visa. We have RuPay card also which talks about the complementarity or the co-branding with that particular bank. RuPay is collaborating and they are offering services to us. So basically when we talk about different branding strategies, we have to understand that depending upon the different factors, we may resort to one or different strategies of branding. At one point of time, you may use more than one strategy according to the requirements. So some companies, they are using ingredient branding, some of them they are using co-branding, some of them they feel that yes, it is, since we are having our own name which has gained lot of prominence in the mind and heart of the customers, so why not encash that, why not go for using this particular umbrella branding strategy. So whether you call it umbrella branding, co-branding, double branding, or complementary branding or co-branding, so all these strategies, they are basically emanating or originating from the requirement of the market, and of course the requirement of the brand managers. So depending upon different factors, they formulate such type of strategies. Now you must be thinking, what are those factors? So let's talk about those factors which influence branding strategies. So the first one is the market size, the market in which you are going to interact, whether it is a big size market, whether the market size is very huge or it is having a limited size. Of course you have to accordingly decide or define your branding strategies. So market size is the first factor and the foremost factor which determines your branding strategy. So if your market size is quite big, then of course you would go for deciding that I must go for umbrella branding, because that would save your time and energy, that would save your time and resources. Competitive situation, how competitive you are finding the market for yourself. So depending upon the competitiveness also, you may resort to the different branding strategies. At times you feel that somehow your umbrella branding strategy is not working, or your company's name is being negatively used by some of the competitors. So at that point of time, marketer may think of resorting to the different branding strategies for different products, so that even if I'm not able to reap the benefit in one segment of the products, the other segments are going to recoup the loss which I have incurred in another segment. So competitive situation also determine to some extent what would be your branding strategies. Of course your resources, if they are limited, then you cannot afford initially to go for having the different brands or several brands managing at one point of time. May become very cumbersome and costly affair also. Product newness, if your product is new, then of course you have to support it with the help of your company's name or with the help of the other brands. But if your product is established one, then of course the brand name of the product itself is enough to speak about the quality, features and services. And innovativeness and technology is another factor which determines your branding strategies. So having understood the different factors that affect the branding strategies, there are certain other terms also which comes to us: local brands, international brands, global brands and private label brands. So what is local brand? So we all understand, as the term itself is indicating, that its area of operation is limited or confined to a particular region or a particular country. So if I have to define the local brand, I would say it is sold only a single national market. If you consider the one nation as a unit, for instance thumbs up in India, it is basically sold in single national market. And here what companies are doing, they are using entrenched local products brands. It can be a significant competitive hurdle to global companies. For instance, Coke in India, or you can say MacD in Philippines and Nike in China. So they are basically making use of a specific brand in a given market only, in the confinements of a given market only. So that is why we call it local brands. Some of the foreign companies, they often create local brands. For instance, if we take example of Procter and Gamble, they created a product called Ariel detergent powder for India. It is the best example of development of a local brand by a foreign company for a specific country. Or there are a number of other examples for giving you an indication of local brands. When we talk about international brands, of course their area of operation is quite wide. It is just opposite to what we have discussed in case of local brands. So they are offered in several markets in a particular region. There can be Euro brands also, like Daimler Chrysler Smart Car, that is basically called as the Euro brands. So my dear learners, these are the different colors of branding, and it is very dynamic. I cannot say that this is the ultimate list of all branding strategies, but yes, of course it is the most exhaustive list which I had shared with you in the due course of our discussions on the branding strategies. Now coming to brand positioning, we have to understand what brand positioning is all about. Brand positioning is basically an idea or a concept with which we are associating a particular brand. And I would give you a number of examples to strengthen your understanding of the term brand positioning. So the strategic brand management process, it actually starts with a clear understanding as to what this particular brand is going to represent, what I am willing to represent in terms of my brand, and how it should be positioned with respect to competitors. That is called brand positioning. So what and how, these are the two questions which we have to answer, that what my brand is going to represent and how it should be positioned. That is called brand positioning. That is the core element of any brand positioning exercise. If you go through the definition of Philip Kotler, who defines brand positioning, he says that it is an act of designing the company's offer and image so that it occupies a distinct and valued place in the target customer's mind. So in the target customer's mind, you are willing to create a distinct and valued place, and for that you are designing the company's offer and image in such a way that you are able to succeed in your motive, and your motive is to occupy the distinct and valued place in the target market's mind, target customer's mind. So of course the ultimate goal here is to locate the brand in the mind and heart of the customers. Not only the customers but also the potential customers, so that the potential benefits to the firms are maximized. And competitive brand positioning is actually all about creating brand superiority in the minds of customers fundamentally, and positioning involves convincing consumers of whatever advantages your product is having, whatever advantages your brand is having in relation to your competitors. While at the same time you have to alleviate concerns about any possible disadvantages which is being floated by some of your competitors, either directly or indirectly. So in positioning, you not only position yourself but you also clear your ways. If there is some negativity or the negative news about your brand or your product, you need to eliminate that. You need to actually clear the way so that your brand is positioned robustly and effectively. And when we talk about positioning, we have to understand that there can be a situation where after positioning also you have to do another exercise of repositioning. So repositioning decisions are actually taken in managing the brand over time. So over a period of time, when your positioning is somehow getting weak, in that case you have to go for repositioning. So brands are often repositioned to make them appealing in changing market conditions. Market conditions are changing and those old concepts are now fading. So you have to actually offer a new color. It is like giving a whitewash to your home. So the whitewash is actually giving a new color or new life to that particular home. Likewise, even the brands are repositioned just to give a new color, the new fervor to that particular brand in changing market conditions. So, the limitation of all these actions is that they are driven by short term orientation. Remember, positioning and repositioning has a short span of life. So, for long run you have to actually decide the basic brand concepts. So, whatever decisions we are taking regarding positioning and repositioning, they are often stimulated by shifts in consumer needs or competitive moves, and accordingly the long term perspective of branding usually tends to be absent in positioning and repositioning decisions. So, the question comes in front of us, how to go for establishing the long term perspective of a particular brand. So, how to look at the branding from the long term perspective, and for that we have to understand that the long term brand image management begins with the brand concept selection. I will tell you what exactly the brand concept is. So, at the very outset the brand concept needs to be selected. You have to select a concept for your brand, and any firm or any company selects the meaning of the brand, that I am going to be known with this concept. The concept becomes the identity of a particular brand, and it is actually derived from none other but the basic consumer needs. So, whatever my customers need, from there I am going to derive that particular brand concept. So, one way of looking into consumers' need is to see them as functional, symbolic and experiential needs. So, there are three types of needs you can classify if you are looking into the consumer's needs. Either it will be functional, or it may be symbolic, or it may be experiential. So, with some examples it would be more clear to you what is functional need, what is symbolic need and what is experiential need. So, functional need, if I have to define, I would say that they are basically concerned with the performance or functional aspect of living. For instance, I need to solve the problem of dirt in the house, or solution to oral hygiene, or protection against germs. So, this is basically my functional need. I need a product which can solve this problem of mine. I am having dirt in the house, or I need a solution to the oral hygiene of mine, or I want to protect myself against germs. So, this is my functional need, and for which any product which is positioning itself with these, with giving emphasis on these needs, then of course I am going to buy those products. I am going to actually target those products, because they are basically having conformity with my requirement. Symbolic needs, as the term itself is indicating, that the symbolic needs are actually, these are the learned needs. They reflect desires for self enhancement, identification with a group, or need for esteem. So, here they have nothing to do with the functionality. Of course, functionality is there, but it is finding a secondary place. Here I am actually willing to get identified with my brand, or with a particular group. I want myself to get associated with a particular group, or need for esteem is basically becoming prominent when a marketer is looking into the symbolic need. I would give you the example of this also. Experiential needs, these as the term itself is indicating, they are basically talking about the experiential marketing. So, they reveal the third aspect of human beings. People see, they are seeking pleasures through their senses. Some of them, they are seeking cognitive stimulations or variety. So, we have to understand, if I have to give an example of it, for instance, products like vacuum cleaners, fans, bulbs, they can be classified as functional needs because of their problem solving role. So, you are having a problem of cleanliness or dirt at your home, and you are buying vacuum cleaner. Now, the different brands can be identified and they can be searched and selected, but yes, of course, your functional need is this, that you want to clean your particular home, and for that you need a vacuum cleaner. So, the product is known to us. Expensive watches, if you think, suppose if you are buying a watch of a wrist watch of 10,000 rupees, and somebody is wearing a watch of 2 lakh rupees. So, what is the difference of functionality? Of course, no difference. Both the watches are going to give you the same time, but the expensive watches, clothes, cars, they can be classified as symbolic for their ability to enhance self-esteem and group identification. So, you want to get identified with that particular brand, that you are using that particular brand. So, functionality remains the same, but it is kept at a lower pedestal as compared to your need of being identified, or your need of what you call as to enhance the self esteem and group identification. Product like food, theme parks and games, they can be they fall into the experiential category, because they all deliver sensory satisfaction. You are going to a particular park, you are enjoying a particular game, you are having a specific variety of food, and you are having that feel, so that they belong to the experiential aspect of your branding. So we have to understand, my dear learners, that as a marketer, you have to, while developing your brand concept, you have to understand that which need I am going to cater to, whether I am going to cater to the requirement of functionality, or I am going to cater to the requirement of symbolic need or the experiential need. So I will be telling you the remaining part of brand concept management in the next lecture of mine. I hope you must have enjoyed this very segment of my lecture on brand management. Thank you so much.